Hello students, I am Deena. Welcome to Math Fam. So you have already learned about introduction to trigonometry, where you have learned how to do the identity proof, how to solve the questions, right, based on specific angles. So here if you will see, this is application of trigonometry, which is the second chapter in trigonometry. And where do we use trigonometry? What is the application? Where do we apply in real life to solve the questions? In this chapter we will see that. So if you will see here, it's already listed here to calculate height and distance. How can we say that? Now if you see in this figure, one person is standing here. Now if this is the building opposite to him, right? Now here, from here, if he sees the top of the building here, and this is, it's given here, this is called line of sight, because if he wants to, if he's seeing the top of the building from the eyes, this is called line of sight, right? And if you'll see, there will be always horizontal line through the object, through the eyes, and this is the ground level, right? And this is the height of the building. To calculate the height of building, or here we can calculate here the distance from the eyes to the top, right? Or this perpendicular distance, this distance between building or person, if we need to find out, we use trigonometry. Here also you will see again the line of sight. There can be angle of elevation, angle of depression, that we will see here. Now here, other than that, you see the navigation in ships, plane or satellites. Because ships, plane, satellite, there's no specific road where they have to move. They can move here because they are flying or they are on the sea. They can move 360-degree. So that is why, again, if you will see, they take here north direction as 0 degree, and then they always go consider the measure in clockwise direction. This one you will learn under bearing. But whenever we learn this also, if I'm saying that he is moving in this path, and if I need to find out, I can draw here. This is the path here. This angle I can draw here right angle, and I can find out what is the distance from the original point and what is the distance of the final destination. So there also we use trigonometry. Other than that, if you need to find out the distance between any planet and sun, or between two stars, so this is the way. What do they do here? They use clinometer. There is one instrument, because physically we can't measure the distance between sun and earth. So what do they do here? They take here the point, because we know the diameter or radius of the earth, right? Now here you know that this is, tangent is always perpendicular to the radius, so this angle is 90-degree, and using clinometer they can find out this acute angle. Once you have this, because you know the radius, you can find out the distance between earth and sun or any other planet. So in this chapter we are going to learn this, all these part, how do we solve the questions. So what is very important part here? First, drawing figure is very important in this chapter. If your figure is right, because you need to draw the right triangle using the given information, it's very easy to solve the question. Then most of the time in this chapter you use here specific angle of tan theta, right? So please remember all the values here. If you know that tan 30-degree, it's always 1 by root 3. Then tan 45 is degree is 1. Then here if I take tan 60-degree, it is root 3. So mostly you use these three, but you should remember sine theta and cos theta specific values also, right? Then we will solve here. First I'll give the explanation, then we'll be solving questions here based on this topic. If you feel this will be helpful to you, so stay till the end. So in this chapter we are going to learn about height and distance. So first thing here, let us start with height, and these questions we'll do it at the end. Height and distance, application of trigonometry. Sometimes this is called as height and distances based question, right? So here, whenever we start this chapter, because I told you the drawing figure is very important part, right? So how are you going to draw figure? You should be aware of some of the terms here. So what do we call here? So there will be always one observer, eye of the observer. So if there is a, this is called ground level, which is a horizontal line, right? So this is ground level, or we call it as horizontal line here. This is horizontal line. Now if I say at point A, this is the observer, eye of observer, right? Here eye of observer. Now from here, if that person is seeing something in the top of the building, or something is flying on the sky, or anything, here there is a bird flying and the observer is seeing that bird. So this is the position of the object, right? So I observe of the observer and B is the point of the object, right? Because so here if you will see here, B to C, right? So B is above the ground level and BC is called the distance from the ground level to the object, point of the object. Now the person is here or something is at A point, eye of the observer is here. So from A he is looking at point B. Okay. Now this is called line of sight because through this line he is seeing this object. Now whatever the angle from the ground level, whatever the angle is made between horizontal line and the line of sight, that's called, because from the ground level it's he is looking at the top side, so this is called angle of elevation, right? So this is your angle of elevation. So what is angle of elevation here? Angle BAC, generally we can represent it as theta also. This is called angle of elevation. Now what you need to remember here, the angle is always between horizontal line and the line of sight, right? Now similarly here, if I take, if someone, there is a building, okay, if AB is a building and one person is standing here and from his eye he's looking on the ground where to one car, right? So if there is a car on the ground at position C, if this is position C, right? Now from someone is, so now your eye of observer, it is here, right? Eye of observer, it is not on the ground level, it is above ground level. Line of sight here, this is called line of sight, right? Line from the eye of the observer, this is line of sight. Right now, what is this here? I know that the angle is always between horizontal line and the line of sight, but there's no horizontal line because it's here. So you will draw the imaginary horizontal line which should be parallel to the ground level, because the angle is always, this is very, very important part. You should always remember the angle is always between horizontal line and the line of sight. Now, because it's angle of depression, so depression means from top to bottom, right? So this is theta angle if I take it here, or if I write on here x, right? This is called angle of depression because it's from the top to downside. So this is called angle of depression. This is the main most important part of this chapter, right? So here if I write on here angle XAC, angle XAC is nothing but here theta, which is angle of depression. Right now here you should know that angle of depression is always equals to angle of elevation, because this ground level and the this horizontal line is always parallel. So AC is your transversal, so this is nothing but alternate interior angles, right? So this theta, if this is theta, then automatically this angle also going to be theta, because here since, so what you will write down always angle of depression, angle of depression, because I need the angle in the right triangle, right? So I have to take that angle inside this right triangle. So you need to mark here 90 degree. Don't forget to mark 90-degree angle in your triangle. Angle of elevation, right? So therefore you will always start, though the angle of elevation depression are same, but do not forget to draw this line angle of depression if it's given angle of depression. So angle XAC will be equals to angle BCA, which both of them are equals to theta. So the most important part that you need to remember, that the angle is always between line of sight and horizontal line. Here this is horizontal line, this is line of sight, right? And whenever there is an angle of depression, what you need to remember, it's always equals to angle of elevation, because alternate interior angles are equal. Right, angle of elevation is from ground level to the top here, and angle of depression is from the top to the object. Now let us see this example here, because when you will read the question, you will draw the figure, then you will understand how do we need to solve it. So what is the written here? A ladder which is 15-meter long just reached to the top of the vertical wall. If the ladder makes an angle of 60 degree with the wall, then find the height of the wall, right? So what is given here? First, I can first draw vertical wall, right? So vertical wall, either you can make angle triangle to left or right side of this vertical wall. I am making first left hand side. So AB is the wall, right? Now the ladder will be on the ground level. So if I take BC as the ground and ladder foot is at point C here, right? This is ladder foot. Now ladder is 15-meter long, just reaches to top of the vertical wall. So this is ladder is going to be placed like this, slant, right? So AC is here, nothing but ladder, right? You don't need to write down. I'm writing so that you understand how we are taking it. So the angle between wall and ground is going to be 90 degree, right? What is given here? The ladder makes an angle 60 degree with the wall. So your angle is not here angle of elevation. They did not say angle of elevation. So read the information correctly. It's written this angle is 60 degree, right? Because angle between wall, AB is wall and this is the ladder, right? So this is your wall. So angle between, if they say angle of elevation, then it is going to be here angle BCA. This is your angle of elevation, right? So read the question carefully. Whatever they have given, you need to do marking as per that, right? We need to find out height of the wall, which is this. How are we going to find out here? Now what is known, you have already learned how to calculate the trigonometric ratio. So what to find here? To find here, it is nothing but AB. So here, so ka Tova, right? So its a sine is opposite by hypotenuse, cos is adjacent by hypotenuse, tan is opposite by adjacent. So here with respect to acute angle, you can take this angle also as 30 degree, because you have 60, 60 plus 91, 50, and it is going to be 30 degree. But if I use here 60 degree, I need to find out AB, which is nothing but with respect to 60 degree, this is your adjacent, this is your hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is always opposite to 90 degree. So what are we going to take it here? Adjacent by hypotenuse means we can use here cos, right? So first you have to mention which triangle. So you will write down in triangle ABC, angle B is 90 degree, because when we are using trigonometric ratio, it has to be right triangle. So we can use here cos 60 degree, which is adjacent is AB, hypotenuse is AC. Now what is cos 60? Cos 60 is sine 30, so it is going to be 1 by 2, which is AB length by 15, right? So what is going to be your AB length, which will be 15 by 2, that means it's going to be 7.5 meters. And so you can find out the distance between the foot of the ladder and the here the foot of, this is the bottom of the building also, this distance also, if you take this, then it's going to be opposite by hypotenuse, so you will use their sine rule. Okay, now this is our next example. What is given here? An observer which is 1.5 meter tall is 28.5 meter away from a chimney. The angle of elevation of the top of the chimney from her eyes is 45 degree. What is the height of the chimney? Right. So this is, first you will take the observer. So if I take, this is the observer, right? So here if I take AB is one observer who is 1.5 meter tall. So your eyes of the observer will be at A. Now tall and 28.5 meter away from a chimney. Now here chimney, if this is a chimney which is CD, right? So here if I take CD is a chimney, you can join here B to C because it's a ground level here, right? I can join here B to C. So this is going to be a 90 degree and the distance between this is 28.5 meter, right? The angle of elevation of the top of the chimney. What is your top of the chimney? If you'll see here, this is point D is your top of the chimney from her eyes. Her eyes are at here, observer. Point of observation is A. Now you know that what is going to be the line of sight, because this person from A, it is looking at the top of the chimney which is at D. Now here this is your line of sight, and you know that the angle of elevation or depression is always between line of sight and horizontal line. Now this is your angle of elevation, that means I need horizontal line. Now it is above the ground level, so what you will do here, I'll draw the horizontal which is parallel to the ground level. Now this angle, because it is from the ground to the line of sight, this is your 45 degree. Now what is going to be your right triangle? If you will see, you need to mark here E, right? So triangle AED, you need to take it, because you will always consider how to choose the triangle wherever you see your acute angle, right? Because you need to use here trigonometric ratio using the right triangle and where your angle of elevation or depression is there. So this angle will give you, if you'll take the arms, you will be able to select the correct triangle, right? Here also, now what is the other marking you can do here? You know that EC, which is this, will be equals to this, because it is 1.5 meter, right? So to calculate, to find here, it is DC or CD, right? Here it is to find is here, if you need to find out, that is CD, which is nothing but height of chimney, right? Height of chimney. How are you going to get it here? How are you going to solve it? Again, I need to choose the triangle. So I do not have DE, right? So either you can, sometime you can take here, whenever whatever is height is missing, you can take H. If anything horizontal is missing, you can take X and Y. So here, if I take the solution, because I mark that H, so first you will define that, let DE is equals to H meter, right? Now, which triangle I am going to consider here? Right triangle. In triangle AED, right? Which angle is angle AED is 90 degree. Now, it's a 90 degree. Which trigonometric ratio I have to use? Now, this also will be opposite. So, this is also going to be 28.5 meter. Now, if you will see here, with respect to 45 degree, opposite by adjacent. So, it is going to be tan, right? So, it will be here tan 45 degree, which is DE by AE. Now tan 45 value is 1, right? D is H by AE is 28.5. So what is going to be a value of H height here, which is part of chimney's height? H is 28.5 meter. Now, once you get this, now chimney's height won't be DE. It is going to be from the ground level. So what is going to be there? Chimney height, height of the chimney is, if you will see chimney, it is going to be DE plus EC, which is nothing but 28.5 plus 1.5. So the total height of the chimney is going to be 30 meters. Before we take the next question, I would like to tell you one thing that you need to always remember. There is one building, right, which is AB. Now there is a point C on the ground level, right here, which is from that point C, angle of elevation is 60 degree. So line of sight, so this is your 90 degree, A to C, if I join, that is line of sight, and BC is your horizontal line, right? So if I say this angle is 60 degree, now if you move C to D, angle changes to 30 degree, right? So here what will happen, your angle of elevation, because now your line of sight is A to D, which is AD, right? And the horizontal line is BD, so this is 30 degree. What you need to remember here, if you go far from 90 degree on ground level, from the any top here, angle of elevation, if you see, if it goes far, the angle decreases. So here if I take any angle, it can be 20 degree, this can be here 10 degree, 20 degree, any angle. Generally you don't take consider those angles, but this is 30 degrees, so 45 degree is going to be here. Now this is your third example, which is based on angle of depression. So what is written here? It's written the angle of depression of the top and bottom of an 8-meter tall building from the top of a multi-storied building are 30 degree and 45 degrees, right? Now it's angle of depression of the top and bottom of building. So which is going to be taller, multi-storied building, because from here angle of depression is there, right? So if I take here, this is the multi-storied building, right, which is AB. So the angle of depression of the top and bottom. So what is going to be here? 8-meter tall building will be this, right? If I take it here, it is C and this is D, which is, what is the height there? It is 8 meter of CD. CD is going to be, this is the distance between both the buildings. This is 90 degree, this is also 90 degree. Now what is this building? This is your tall building. So 8-meter high tall building. So now you know that from A, because see, it's written from the top of a multi-storied building. So what is the top of the multi-storied building? Point A, right? Now angle of depression means I know we need horizontal line and it is above ground level. So first I am going to draw here horizontal line. That is must, right? Then after that here, the angle of, now you need to take it in the same order. So it's written angle of depression of top is 30 degree. That means what is your line of sight here? AD. So this angle is going to be 30 degree and the bottom is 45 degree respectively. See the word respectively. So what is the bottom of the tall building? Point C. So your line of sight is going to be here AC, because again the angle is between line of sight and horizontal line. So this angle is going to be 45 degrees, right? Now here if you will see, then what is this? Angle of depression is equals to angle of elevation. So this angle will be 45 degree. Now for 30 degree angle, because I need to draw here imaginary horizontal line to get the triangle here. Now what is going to be this angle? I can take this angle because angle of depression is equals to angle of elevation. So I can draw here horizontal line here, which is, and you can mark this point as E. So what are your two triangles you will consider here? Triangle AED, because 30 degrees is there, and triangle ABC. Now what is the missing? What do we need to find out here? Height of the multi-storied building. So this part is missing, and the distance between two buildings, it is BC. This also it's not there. So here to find, it is BC and here AB. Now how to solve it here? First, because it's easy, if I take the variables, I can take horizontal distance here. It is X, and now you know that opposite sides of a rectangle are equal. So this is going to be 8 meter and AE if I am taking it as H. So I can first define the variable, let AE is equals to H meter and BC is equals to X meter, right? Now just consider the triangle here. Which triangle can I take first? Now this is X, so ED also it's going to be X. Therefore BC is equals to ED is equals to X meter. So any one triangle you can take it, because there are two unknowns, so you'll get two equations. So first, and whichever triangle you are considering, you need to mention that triangle. In triangle AED, which angle if you see here, it is 30 degree, right? So adjacent with respect to this is adjacent and this is opposite. Opposite by adjacent means you can use here tan. So it will be tan 30 degree and opposite is AE by adjacent is ED. Tan 30 is 1 by root 3. AE we have taken as H by X. So what is going to be your first equation if you will take it here? Here X is going to be root 3H, because you will get two equation because there are two variable. Now what is your other triangle? If you see 45 degrees here, because And you need to mention that why angle of elevation is equal to angle of depression, which angles are equal. Now, so this is going to be your triangle. So you can consider here, what is your other triangle? In triangle ABC, I can take again tan here, tan 45 degrees. Here I can take this. So tan 45 degree will be equals to, now the full length, you will not take only AE length, it will be AB by BC, right? Tan 45 is 1. And what is your AB? AB is going to be this total length, right? So this length, which is going to be here, h plus 8. So what can we take here? H plus 8 by, so 1 is equals to h plus 8 by BC, which is x. So I can take it here. 1, this is h plus 8 by x, so x is equals to h plus 8. This is your equation 2. Now if you will see from both 1 and 2, they both are equal to x, right? So you can substitute one value in another, so I can equate both. It will be root 3h is equals to h plus 8. And if you do the simplification, you will get the value of h. Sometimes they'll give you root 3 value, here it's not given, so you'll write down the value in surd form only, or irrational number form only. Now here h is common, root 3 minus 1 is equals to 8. So h will be 8 by root 3 minus 1. Now these kind of value you have to rationalize, because denominator cannot be irrational number. In grade 9 you have learned this. So we'll, to make it perfect square, we, if it's a minus b, we take here a plus b, so that we can get perfect square, a square minus b square. So 8 is here, root 3 plus 1. Don't open the bracket in the numerator, because sometimes the values will get cancelled, right? So this is root 3 plus 1 by here 2, 2 ones are 2 fours are. So the value here, it is 4 times root 3 plus 1 meter. This is the height. What do I need to find out here? Total height, which is going to be 8, right? H plus 8, because we need to find out height of the multi-storied building, right? So before that, find out x also. X is root 3h, right? So here distance between both the buildings, therefore x is root 3h. I can substitute, I can open this bracket also, because we need to add those values, right? So I can take it here, root 3 times 4 root 3 plus 4, which is going to be, if I use distributive property, it will be 12 plus 4 root 3 meter, right? This is your height of the distance between those two buildings. Now what is your h here? If you take here h, if I take here height, uh, height height means height of the multi-storied building is going to be AB, which is h plus 8, right? So AB is nothing but h plus 8, and h value you are getting it as 4 root 3 plus 4 plus 8, so that is going to be 4 root 3 plus 12 meters. So this is your answer. If you, they give you root 3 value, which is 1.73, you will get the decimal value. You can write the answer here, because its value is 1.73. Sometimes you can write down answer as here 4 with common value also, root 3 plus, yeah, 3, and here also, because it's a tan 45, that's why you are getting here same value. You can write down this also as answer. So here are first, there are few objective type question here. What is the first question? See, every question in the rough work also, for MCQ also, you need to draw the figure. Otherwise, it's difficult to solve the question. What is given here? Angle of depression of a car parked on the road from the top of a 150-meter high tower. So if there is a 150-meter high tower here, this is 150-meter. The angle of depression of the car on the road. So road will be on the ground level here. Now if the car is positioned, AB is tower and the car is positioned at C, right? And 150-meter tower, angle of depression. So how are we going to take depression? You know that the line of sight, because your angle of depression is from the top of the building. So AC is your line of sight, right? So what is your angle of depression here? 30 degree. You know that angle of depression is equals to angle of elevation. So this angle will be 30 degree. This is 90 degree. What do I need to find out here? Distance of car from the tower. So this is unknown, right? Now you know that again, because here 30 with respect to 30 degree, this is opposite, this is adjacent. Opposite by adjacent is tan, so it will be tan 30 degree, which is AB by BC. You can quickly solve MCQ question. I'm giving the whole explanation so that no one should have any doubt. So this is BC, right? So BC is going to be equals to 150 root 3 meters. So what is your right option here? Option number B is the right option. Now next question, if I take it here, what is given here? The angle of shadow of a tower on the plane ground is root 3 times height of the tower. Now here you remember, if there is any tower, the shadow is always on the ground level. Now AB, if it is a tower, right? So the shadow is going to be on the ground, and shadow is root 3 times height of the tower, right? So if I take here, this is your shadow on the ground level, right? This is your building, which is tower. Now, what is the shadow? If I take root 3 times height of the tower, can I take height of the tower as x? So, shadow length is going to be root 3 times x, which is root 3 x. We need to find out angle of elevation of sun. So, angle of elevation means from point C, because from point C here, what is going to be this angle is theta, which is unknown, right? Now, again, it is opposite here by here adjacent. So we can take again tan. So we can take tan C, which is AB by BC. So tan C is going to be here x by root 3x. Now you have to observe this, because I need to get the value of angle, and 1 by root 3. You know that 1 by root 3 is tan 30 degree, right? You need to remember all the specific angles rules, so that you don't it's very easy to find out the answer. So your angle of elevation is going to be 30 degree, right? So this is the answer. Now next question, if I'll go here, what is given in the next question? From a point on the ground, if I take here, from a point on the ground which is 50 meter away from the foot of the vertical tower, the angle of elevation of the top of the tower is bound to be 60 degree. Find the height of the tower. So there is a point on the ground 15 meter away from the foot of the vertical tower. Again, this is the tower. AB is tower. There is a point which is 15 meter away from foot of the tower. So point C is 15 away from the foot of the tower, which is point B. The angle of elevation from C to the top of the tower. So your line of sight is AC, right? This is your line of sight, and this is going to be your angle of elevation, because angle is always between horizontal line and line of sight. So this is your horizontal line, this is your line of sight, so angle of elevation will be this. What is given here? Angle of elevation here 60 degree. What do I need to find out here? Height of the tower. If I take it as h, again you can use here tan rule. So tan 60 degree will be equals to h by 15, and tan 60 is root 3, which is h by 15. So h is going to be 15 root 3 meter. So what is the right option here? Sometimes they give you all the answers in decimal form, right? So you should know root 3 value. You always take 1.732 or 1.73 if the answer is given in the two decimal point. And this is your next multiple choice question. It says a kite is flying at a height of 30 meter from the ground. So height is always perpendicular distance. So if kite is flying at the height 30 meter, so at position A, there is a kite from the ground, and this height is 30 meter, which is perpendicular. The length of the string of the kite to the ground is 60 meters. So there is a point on the ground, right? So AB, it is given, this is 90 degree. C is a point, right, on the ground, and kite is attached to C. So this has become your line between 90 here, this is 60 meter because there's no slack here, means the length of this is there. Now here if you see the angle is theta, you need to find out angle of elevation is theta. Now this is opposite, this is hypotenuse, and if I take here opposite by hypotenuse, that's always sine. So sine theta or sine c will be equals to AB by AC. So what is your sine theta? Which is 30 by 60, which is 1 by 2, and you know that sine theta is 1 by 2 for sine 30 degree, right? So theta will be equals to 30 degree. Your option number B is the right option. Now next question, if I take it here, what is the next question? The angle of elevation of the top of the tower from a point on the ground, right? So angle of elevation, top of the tower, you draw one tower here. If I draw a tower from a point, that means there has to be angle of elevation here, horizontal, and this is line of sight. Angle of elevation is given as 45 degrees. So this is your 45 degrees angle. This is your 90 degree, right? And what is this here? 30 meter away from the foot of the tower, this point. So this is 30 meter. I can mark here ABC, right? What do I need to find out? Height of the tower, which is AB. Now here if you will see, opposite is unknown and adjacent is known. So you will take again tan. So I can write down here tan 45 is AB by BC. So tan 45 is 1 and AB we need to find out AB by 30. Remember tan 45 is always 1. So the values are going to be equal, right? Whenever there is a tan 45 degree, it is going to be isosceles triangle because the other angle is also 45 degrees. So what is my height of the tower here? 30 meter. Now this is subjective question. This kind of question can be 2 marker question. What does it say here? The ladder 15-meter long just reached to the top of a vertical wall. So if this is a wall which is given as AB, right? Now here what is given? Ladder makes 60-degree angle with the wall. This question we have done above also, if you remember, right? 15-meter length of the ladder is 15 meter here. So this is 15 meter. Your ladder is AC. Now, angle between ladder and wall, that means this angle is 60 degree. You need to find out the height of the wall. So this is your adjacent, this is your hypotenuse, right? So you can take here cos rule. So cos 60 is equals to adjacent, which is AB by hypotenuse is 15. Cos 60 is nothing but sine 30, which is half, equals to AB. We did this question in the example, right? So AB is 7.5 meter. Let us go for the next question, question number 7 here. What is given in question number 7? An observer 1.5 meter tall is 20.5 meter away from the tower, which is 22-meter high, right? Determine the angle of the top of the tower from the eye of the observer. So first you will draw here observer. What is the height of the observer? This is 1.5 meter tall. Eye of the observer will be at A, right? Now it is 20.5 meter away from the another tower. This is observer. AB is the observer, right? So BC, it is 20.5 meter away, and here there is a tower which is 22 meter high, right? So this is CD. What is this total length? It is 22 meter high, right? Now determine the angle between eyes of the observer to the top of the tower. Now top of the tower is point D, so your line of sight will be AD, right? This is your line of sight. You know that the angle is always between horizontal line. So there's no horizontal line. You will draw parallel to this and mark here E. So this is your 90-degree angle. This angle we need to find out because this is angle of elevation, right? Now you know that opposite sides are equal. Will this be 20.5 meter and this will be equals to this? So this is 1.5 meter. What is going to be the remaining length? Here it is 22 minus 1.5. So I can write down here DE is equals to DC minus EC. See, all the figures are not to scale. So it's fine because this is the rough figure. Okay, so here how much will be this? It will be 2120.5 meter, right? So this is going to be 20.5 meter. Now, if I need to find out here, I know opposite and this is adjacent. Opposite by adjacent is always tan, right? So I can take here tan theta will be equals to DE by AE, and tan theta will be equals to 20.5 by 20.5, which is nothing but 1. And you know that 1 is for tan 45 degrees. So theta, sometimes you need to find out the angle also. So theta is going to be 45 degrees, right? We'll take the next question. Now let us go for the next question here. Question number 8. It says here, uh, the shadow of a tower standing on a level plane is found to be 50-meter longer when the sun's elevation is 30 degree than when it is 60 degree. Find the height of the tower. So how do we do here? If we are taking this, so first if I am taking one tower, right? So if this is AB is a tower, correct, found to be 50-meter longer. Now you know that here first angle of elevation, you will be having the ground level where the shadow is formed. So if the first one it is 60 degree here, so this is your initial shadow length, which is BC length here, right? This is BC length we don't have, so I'm taking it as X. And here if height we don't know, I'm taking it as H meter. Now what is this angle here? This is angle of elevation, this is 60 degree, right? Sun's angle of elevation is 30 degree, then when it's a 60 degree, right? Now here you know that just now I was telling you before this, if you 30-degree angle of elevation means the point is going to be far from B, right? So if D is going to be farther from B than C. So this angle of elevation, it is 30 degree. And how much long is there? BC was the actual one. So this is nothing but 50-meter longer, right, than the initial. So what is going to be this total BD length? If I take it here, the CD is 50-meter, right? So the total length is going to be x plus 50-meter. Now here you need to find out the height of the tower. So x is unknown, h is unknown. There are two unknowns, means you need to always create two equations. So what is the first triangle? Will I take it here? So I can take the triangle where you see the angle of elevation. So this is one of the triangle which is ABC. And what is going to be the other triangle here if you take ADB? Because you need to take always the right triangle. You can't take triangle ACD. Sometimes the kids, students, they do mistake here. They consider the non-right triangle, which is not right, because you can apply trigonometric ratio only on right triangles. So here, how are you going to take the solution? First, take here, I have taken let AB is H meter, right? And BC as X meter. So what is going to be the length of BD? It will be X plus 50 meter. Whatever you can write on, whatever is given, what to find, everything. What to find here? We need to find out here this part, height of the tower. They are not asking the distance between from the foot of the tower to the first position. So first we'll take here in triangle ABC. Now here you know that this is opposite and this is adjacent. So O by A is nothing but tan theta. So it will be tan 60 degree will be H by X. Tan 60 is root 3. So it will be H by X root 3. So H is going to be root 3X. This is your equation 1, right? And after that, what is going to be the other triangle here? What is the other triangle you can take here in triangle ABD, right? We can again take opposite by adjacent. So we can take here tan 30 degree, which is opposite is H by adjacent is BD, right? Which is X plus 50. Now, how do you simplify this? Will it be 1 by root 3, which is equals to h by x plus 50? Now, we don't need to get x. So, there are two ways to do it here. You can substitute x also here because I just need to get h. So, x is going to be here h by root 3 and I can label this as 1, right? Or if you need to find out x also, you can take the same equation. So, what will happen here? I'm first doing cross multiplication h root 3. Now substitute here x value, which is h by root 3, right, plus 50 is equals to h root 3. You don't need to rationalize later on at the end. You can rationalize after finding here LCM, right? So now I can do it here. I can either transpose this or I can get it as the LCM. If you take the LCM, you will root 3 will get cancelled by taking to the right hand side. So if I take this, right here, you can write down from 1, because from 1 I have substituted this, so it will become h plus 50 root 3 by root 3 is common, is equals to h root 3. Now once this goes to the right hand side, it will get cancelled, right? Root 3 will become a rational number 3. So h plus 50 root 3 will be root 3 times root 3 will be 3h. So it will be 2h is 50 root 3 meter. So h is going to be 25 root 3 meter. So what is the height of the tower? 25 root 3 meter. Now again in this question, root 3 value is not given. So you can leave the answer in third form. If root 3 value is given as 1.732 or 1.73, you will get the answer in decimal. So this is the question. In next session, we will see the more questions based on application of trigonometry. Hope you got this. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share and subscribe. Also, keep practicing.